around new people and stuff, I'll say to people, I've got Tourette's and stuff. And,
Yeah. I think as well, you brushed over it. Nothing that you would say that would hinder you, still break.
At the start of this podcast, he's still hungover and stuff. No, it's not. It's I'm wary that I'm coming on this and being filmed and I've got Tourette's.
Wow. People don't really care. And that's a really good way to look at it, because actually most people don't care about stuff that we worry about in our own heads.
My granddad, he's always told me about the military life and how good it was, and it will sort you out and everything. And that
was he in the military?
He was the best decision ever made, really, because there's no way in hell that I'd be where I am now if it wasn't for the discipline and the lifestyle that the military gave me.
Hi everyone, I'm Ben from Educating Idiots. Thanks for watching. Really appreciate your support. Don't forget to like and subscribe. But is that a conscious decision? Are you thinking
I'm not drinking for a year.
Are you actually not?
Yeah. Up to August the 1st.
Do you think you could do that?
I'd love to be able to do it. I've done. You know what? I've done it. I did it from January until June, both pandemic years.
That's not bad.
What? No drinking? That's really good.
Was that when you were training for boxing?
No drugs and not one sip of booze in 6 months. The only reason I broke it both times was June the 20th because it's Libby's birthday. So I know that I can do it.
How did you feel?
Fucking fantastic, mate. Because it's just a solid 6 months of having my head screwed on and not once fallen off.
Yeah.
Was that when you was training for the boxing fight?
No, this was.
Because I remember you trained for that. You was pretty strict, weren't you?
This was when I first hired a fucking coach to look after my nutrition and everything. So it was just tunnel vision, focusing on that. Yeah. Just fuck all else to do. And then the only other time other than that was Afghanistan, 6 months.
That's a massive achievement. Nothing for 6 months.
Yeah, it's just when it were circles that hang around and stuff. It's hard.
It's all it's your environment. But
I'd love to be strong enough.
All right, but so is it possible for you, because you are top showbiz journalist? So tell us about STK. So you said you're at STK. I love STK, but I've only ever been to the Vegas one, so I don't know how good it is in London.
You know, for the idiots, what's STK?
What's STK, Ash?
I don't even know what it stands for. It's just a serious fucking steakhouse.
It's like restaurant.
It's like 200 quid for a Wagyu steak and stuff. It's like an upmarket fancy steakhouse, basically.
Right.
Yeah, but it's like the one at Vegas is like party time. Like it's like got a DJ,
it's in like
partying, and you're just ordering food and drinking.
Man, Dubai be for Vegas, and there's about 4 in London.
So there's some money behind them then, isn't there?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I looked at the menu and I was like, what?
Have you been there? Yeah.
I've been, Vegas.
We went to the biggest one, didn't we?
I had a side of broccoli.
And a glass of water.
Yeah, and stared at the waitresses.
So you go to STK for work?
Well, I did on Thursday night. It was just like a little fucking shindig they was doing.
Right, so wait. So how does that work then? So you're in the office, your boss calls you in. Right, I've got a job for you. You go to STK and you do A, B, and C.
No, not on this occasion. I obviously see what events are going off and everything, and who's going to be at said events. So I'll get in touch with the PR of the event or whatever and say, "Can I come to this?" And they'll be like, "Yeah." And I'll be like, "Can I have a +1?" And they'll be like, "Yeah." And that's it. And then you go, and it's all free and free drinks all night. It's just a party.
So you say to them, "I'm a journalist at the Sun."
Exactly, yeah. There's a lot of perks with my new job. Like I've been encouraged to go out as much as possible because I'm obviously still in that space where I'm building up my contacts list and trying to get to know a lot more PRs and management and everything. Because GMB was a lot different, so I'm still, I'm basically being encouraged to go out and do as much as possible, get to know as many people as possible.
That's amazing.
And if I get a story whilst I'm there, then brilliant. But for example, the one I went to the other night. There wasn't any names there that I'd care about in terms of wanting to speak to get someone in the paper.
Yeah.
So I just went for a jolly with Libba.
Do they pay for your night out as well?
It's everything I've been to so far has pretty much been free. Like I was in a box at fucking Wembley for the weekend gig the other night. That was all free.
It's like getting paid to just go and party and have a good time.
Yeah, there's a lot of perks, but obviously it's also dangerous as well.
Oh, it's huge. I was just about to say it's hugely dangerous.
So your work then, they see that as you doing, what is that, field work?
For an example, I went to the Formula One thing at Silverstone, so that's like a big fuck off festival now. It's not just for sports fans. It's for like a family now, and that's what they're trying to sell it as. It's like a 4-day music festival now. Wow. So this PR company, they put on like a big fucking bus and travel for all journalists and everything. Took us down there for the launch night. Calvin Harris, all paid for free drinks all night, unbelievable. And I just had to write a little review for the paper and just big up, make the company who were looking after the promotion look good, basically. So it's like a lot of you scratch their back, they'll scratch your stuff. So.
That's amazing. And like you say, loads of perks, but you said dangerous as well, in the sense that you're always involved in that life. So you're going to be always in your face.
There's a possibility of being in the Priory in a year.
Yeah. It's like that, the F1 thing. Obviously, I'd only just started then. So I got absolutely fucking blindo and had to work the next day. And and I was just like,
did you wake up with any regret? Like, did you do anything stupid while you was blindo? Or?
No, it's actually, for once I didn't, no.
Oh, that's
like
good.
I
suppose the more you do it as well, the more you get prepared to do it. And you're not really going to go hard every night, are you? So you're just going to get to see stuff in a...
No. You know, I've been to when I've been out and about reporting on stuff, obviously the idea was to not get wankered, because if you miss a story, if I've been sent somewhere specific to do something specific, then I need to deliver, I suppose.
It's always a great idea, but...
Yeah, but no, I've done quite well so far. There's only I've remembered everything and not made a twat of myself.
Smashing it.
And if you've got to do you have an objective to try and find out some gossip, or if there's a celebrity there who gets pissed and they're off their head, will you report on them? Are you there to try and catch a story, or are you there to support the event?
I'm there to a lot of the stuff I've done so far again is to big up the event and everything. I have been to specific couple of parties and stuff where I'll be trying to get stories myself, just from, for example, Louise Redknapp was at a party I was at the other week.
Oh yeah.
So I just fucking walked. I didn't speak to anybody all night because there was no one else there that would really care about. So I just walked up to her about 11:30 and says, talk to me, basically. Have you got any new music?
How you do it?
That type of thing. Yeah.
Talk to me.
I literally didn't have anything all night.
Yeah.
So I just walked up to her about 11:30 and just introduce myself and stuff.
Yeah.
So I suppose the minute you introduce yourself and say you work for the Sun, that gives you a bit of free reign where you can have a chat. Otherwise, she'd just be like, or is it only them sort of people at the event?
Because it's like she didn't want to speak, but obviously,
I was going to say, if you walk up to people and say, I work for the Sun, at some point you're going to catch a smack in the face or something like that.
Especially at 11:30.
Do you know what I mean? What are you going to write about me? But yeah, if you're steaming at a party, you're like, whoa, what's this guy going to write about me?
Yeah, so I'm obviously still new there, so
yeah.
I have had a lot of banter off people, but no one's been horrible, but I've had a lot of banter in the sense of, whoa, stay away from this guy. Has he got any microphones on? That type of stuff. Do you know what I mean? So but I'm still finding my feet there in terms of that, all that stuff.
Are there any career, lifelong showbiz journalists who are just fucked now because they're 50 years old, they've just gone out on it every weekend trying to get a story?
There's loads. I was about to say, yeah. I bet there's a Priory especially.
Or are they short-lived positions? They're 2 years into this and we're moving on to something else.
I don't know. The ones that I know, a lot of them that have been doing it a long time.
Yeah.
And then a lot of people who don't do it for so long don't want to do it anymore. I don't know. I'm still quite new to it myself, aren't I? Being at the Sun, I was at GMB for 5 years, and a lot of the showbiz journalists who I saw on red carpets and stuff was the same old faces who have been doing it for a long time.
GMB,
because they love the clout and stuff. Yeah.
What's that? What's GMB?
Good Morning Britain.
Oh, okay. Abbreviated it.
Sorry, yeah.
Have you ever met celebrities that's just wild? You massive stars. Have you ever got starstruck, or you just cool? I'm cool.
All the time, mate. I told you the week that I'm a big film geek and everything. So GMB, the job I was doing at GMB is at Good Morning Britain.
Yeah, thank you.
As a showbiz producer there, that was my perfect job. I absolutely loved it, and I was starstruck all the time, to be honest, because I was genuinely meeting people that were massive heroes.
The biggest one you met? Who was the biggest one to date?
Biggest in terms of interviewing someone, Brad Pitt.
No, in terms of you
personally.
Brad Pitt.
Yeah, that's massive. Don't get me wrong.
Probably most of the Avengers and stuff.
Yeah.
I saw your
Chris
Instagram
Hemsworth,
story with Chris Hemsworth.
Scarlett Johansson, obviously Margot Robbie.
That's
got my fucking Harley Quinn tattoo out to her on a red carpet.
I seen that.
And it went viral.
Yeah,
and stuff.
I've seen that. That looked great. And
she definitely thought I was a massive weirdo.
you look great at the time. You were like, oh, just check this out. Oh, fair play to you there. If you're gonna get it out, if you got your belly out, go.
Forgot about that.
But yeah, you look good.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of perks, and I got a lot of job satisfaction from it because I genuinely was interested in a lot of the stuff I'm doing. I love that job. I absolutely loved it. But needed to do something else.
Yeah, what happened? Why did you leave then if you loved it?
Just because it was the only job that I would ever want to do at GMB.
Yeah.
But I also still want to keep developing and progressing in my career.
Yeah, and to get drunk for free.
Yeah, and there wouldn't be that opportunity for me at GMB because, like I say, I was already doing the only job that I'd ever want to do there.
Yeah.
So if I want to keep learning and keep progressing, then I've just felt like I had to leave.
That's fair enough.
So and that's why.
So going back to before you started these jobs, we'll go back into that in a bit. I know you've I don't know when, you can tell me, but you've been diagnosed with Tourette's.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right? Yeah. So you've got an official diagnosis. Perhaps there's people out there who suffer from Tourette's who might think that will be a blocker for them. And you're sat here, you're working for Good Morning Britain and bloody showbiz journalist. You've done amazing. What was that process like? How old was you when you knew that you had something that you needed to go see someone about, or when was you diagnosed?
Well, I knew about Tourette's from a very young age because it's hereditary, and my uncle has Tourette's. So I'd been around it my whole life, whereas a lot of people probably wouldn't know about it until you're a lot older. But I was exposed to it from a young age, and my uncle had it really, 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 really bad.
So that was explained as a young kid then?
Yeah, for my mum and everything, because he was doing some like mad shit all the time, and it's not normal. Do you know what I mean? So you knew something.
What, like extreme stuff? Because obviously everyone...
Yeah, in a nutshell, he got horrifically bullied, and had a good life because of it, because his stuff was so bad.
Yeah.
Because his tics and everything. But I was always the same from a young age. I've always had like mad tics, and they've changed over the years as well. Like the standard ones, like my eye rolling and my neck rolling and stuff like that. They're the ones they're the most common symptoms that I've always had.
Yeah.
But I've done like all sorts of different like leg tensors, arm tensors, loads of different habits throughout the years.
When you first had it then, when you was younger?
Always had tics.
Do you remember it coming in, or do you remember it just being there?
Remember it all, as long as I can remember, just having mad habits all the time.
So it was just there.
Yeah.
You just got used to it.
But in terms of a diagnosis, I only got diagnosed, I think it would have only been 2015 when I was at university.
Wow.
And the only reason I did that was because obviously by these times I'd developed my snorting and my grunting and stuff. And I was going on placements for my undergrad at uni in schools teaching kids. So you can imagine I'm up there stood up in a classroom in front of kids, snorting like a cunt.
And I suppose when you're nervous, it happens more as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so you can see the kids like whispering, like, is he all right? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's embarrassing. I was thinking, I need to see if there's anything I can do about this, because obviously this is when I wanted to be a PE teacher or whatever.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
So you just dealt with it before then without really giving it a name, just dealt with it and just kind of gave it part of your personality?
Well, just accept it, because it's always been there.
Yeah.
It wasn't anything new to me, do you know what I mean? Because I'd always done it. But like I say, the snort only developed later on in my adult life. I'd never used to do any like vocal tics. That only came like when in my military days. That did when I first noticed it.
Do you find you hid it then? Do you think, or it just became part of you that people just accepted?
What the
that earlier on in the years, because obviously school can be cruel, can't it, and stuff like that. And you were saying about your uncle.
I think I've got worse as I've got older. If I'm honest with you, it's meant to be the other way around. If I remember correctly, but I think mine's got worse the older I've got. Like I say, I've always done them, and it's very rarely that, not to my knowledge anyway, that people like start proper bullying. I've never been bullied for it.
No, that's what I mean? Yeah. You don't come across as well. Like obviously you've got confidence and you've done a lot of things, and like you say, having that issue when you were younger, you've kind of made it part of you, haven't you? But getting that the Tourette's being sort of labelled at 2015, it's quite long into your.
I don't understand what the diagnosis is for as well, because can you do anything for it?
So basically, I went to hospital.
Yeah.
And so you have tics, which is what I thought had initially. So to have Tourette's, you have to have multiple tics, or you crazy twitches and everything, as well as at least one vocal tic. So that's the difference between Tourette's and tics.
Wow.
So when you have a vocal tic with all the different twitches as well, that's what Tourette's is. But the only thing they can do for you is antipsychotics. So they gave me all these. I was thinking, all right, I'll give them a try then.
Yeah.
And the side effects of them is they make you fucking gurn. So not only was I snorting like
what, and they know that
I was chewing as well. So I just sacked them off after about 6 months.
Just for people who don't know, and me as well, antipsychotics.
Antipsychotic. That's the only. That's it's just the tablets. I don't know myself. It just says the only thing they prescribe for Tourette's is antipsychotic. Apparently they can help calm you down.
Does it sort of numb you a bit then? Is that how it works?
completely honest, I didn't feel anything at all. It didn't really do anything. So I just knocked him off on the head after like the first course, because I didn't notice any benefits whatsoever.
No, yeah.
So now I'm at the stage where, you know, it is what it is. There's a lot less people, there's a lot of other people out there who are a lot less fortunate than me. Do you know what I mean? So I just crack on with it, and no one really gives a fuck anyway.
No,
it's not like
it's a lot more known now as well, isn't it? So
you still get the, you know, there are some awkward situations and stuff, like when I'm on trains or when I'm in the office around new people and stuff. I'll say to people, I've got Tourette's and stuff, and
I think as well you brushed over it, but I think doing any kind of speaking and doing it in front of schools and stuff like that, even if you've got nothing that you would say that would hinder you, it's still brave.
Well, you said at the start of this podcast that you're still hungover and stuff. No, it's not. It's I'm wary that I'm coming on this and being filmed and I've got Tourette's.
Is it like getting your mind in its own?
Yeah, of course. Still, I get. I tend to do it, my tics and stuff, a lot more when I'm super relaxed around people that I know, or when I'm stressed and got anxiety.
Right.
That's when they can be at the worst.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's about knowing yourself that well that you can sort of manage it. That's amazing.
Yeah, and I suppose the difficulty with that is people around you know, but can sometimes forget. So I've said to you, "Oh, you still hungover?" You're like, because I looked at you and you were like that. Obviously, you've been out to STK and party and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, you can't do the innocent of saying, "Oh,
yeah." No, but actually, that's a really honest thing to say, because what I wouldn't even think of is you've just thought, "Oh, I'm coming to a podcast and being recorded, and I've got Tourette's." Like nobody would really know that that's what you were thinking. Do you like going back to when you were a kid? If you can, if this is all you remember, was there a certain point in time where you realised, "Oh, I'm doing something different to everybody else"? Can you remember that kind of happening?
No, I don't ever. I just know that it had always been there. Like no one. Like I always had weird, but even I don't ever remember like people saying stuff when I was a kid. I genuinely can't really remember a lot. Some people would laugh at every now and again and everything, but no one. It didn't really come up too often. I don't think, like the last few years, obviously, like mental health and stuff like that is proper out there now, isn't it? I don't think
more accepted now.
Yeah. I don't think back then, like a lot of people knew about Tourette's
or understood.
Yeah, exactly. So
that's a good point, actually. Yeah,
that's my take on it, because it never really became a thing until I wanted to get something done about it when I was working in the schools. It's just always been there, and something that I've had to deal with.
Yeah. It's a good outtake though, because the way what you said earlier is people don't really care, and that's a really good way to look at it, because actually most people don't care about stuff that we worry about in our own heads. Like when people worry about like insecurities and judgment and all that sort of stuff, actually most people don't actually care, do they?
Yeah, I think I worry a lot more than what I should do, because it's not actually that big thing. Like I said, there's loads of other people out there who are way less fortunate than someone who snorts and rolls his eyes a lot. Do you know what I mean?
I agree, but everything's subjective to you. So I think you can always say that about everything else. Someone's always worse off, but that's a hard thing to have to deal with, and you just dealt with it really well. And I think the fact that probably came across like that and you owned it, I think you probably did that from when you were younger. So people just went, okay, that's who you are.
I think it comes down to it as well. A lot of the people that I'm around, like my friends and stuff, like it's nothing to like you guys would never say that. Stop doing that, you couldn't. Do you know what I mean? Like no one bats an eyelid anymore. It's just normal now. Whereas when I'm around complete strangers, or trains or whatever, for example, or just when I'm around complete strangers and people, you get the odd stares and like.
Yeah, but you've not run away. But that would be hard. That's what my point. You've not run away from that. Your job actually is meeting new strangers. Do you know what I mean? You give yourself. I know,
that's incredible. Part. Actually, yeah. It turns out that your job is to face
you're blasé,
strangers.
But you've done the worst thing that for somebody in your position.
The hardest thing to do for someone in that position, which is pretty amazing. How old are you now, Ash?
36.
36. So 36 years old, and you've done so much of your life up until now. With that, that's a massive testament to you. Massive. Yeah.
Bigging you up, bro. That's what I'm doing
there. So you got through school, and then at some point you decided you want to join the military. How old was you then?
21, I think I was when I went in.
21.
Yeah.
So tell us a bit about that. Like, why the RAF, and what is about that was appealing to you?
Well, the reason, I mean, being completely honest, the reason I went in is because I was just fucking up at home and stuff. I was just going absolutely nowhere, and obviously I wanted more for myself than a dead end job, living for the weekend.
What
Almost like damage limitation, like you need to
I
get
just
away from everything.
I just knew,
get some discipline.
My family weren't my biggest fan at that time.
Yeah.
I was just being a nightmare as you would when you're a young lad. You know what I mean? But if I'd have stayed there, only things would have got worse. So I just decided to take myself out of it. And I'd always been encouraged by my granddad. He'd always told me about the military life and how good it was, and it will sort you out and everything. And that was
he in the military?
He was big.
Who is this? Is this your dad's dad?
This is my mum's dad.
Right,
my granddad.
okay.
He'd like encouraged me my whole life to go in the army or the military or whatever.
Yeah.
So that was on my mind as well, and it just got to the point where I was just completely fed up of being a fucking idiot, basically.
Like what? What do you mean being an idiot?
Well, just getting in trouble all the time, and just coming home with black eyes, getting in trouble, pissing off everybody. My family really didn't like me at the time. Really didn't like me because I was just a social hand grenade, partying non-stop, and I was just a nightmare.
That's a good description. Social hand grenade.
Social hand grenade.
Explosive in social situations.
Yeah, it was just a
forces.
nightmare, and I could just tell that I just knew that I needed to do something.
Yeah.
Good self-reflection,
to grow up.
Yeah.
So I literally woke up one day after something happened. I thought, you know what, I'm going to go down to the careers office, and that's how it all started. And you said why the RAF? I just did a bit of reading and stuff. I just thought, genuinely, I thought a lot less people seem to die in the RAF when they go to Afghanistan.
Yeah. So
is that why you joined the RAF? Because you just looked at the deaths,
the stats.
Yeah, because obviously,
that's some good research.
You've got the RAF, but then you've got the RAF regiment, which is what I was in. That's the ground fighting force of the RAF.
Right,
I never knew the RAF had a ground fighting force until I met you.
Yeah, so
I had no idea.
I didn't know that until just now.
Yeah.
So the RAF, so the military, that's what it offers to people, isn't it? Exactly your scenario. Young lads who might be on a different, the wrong path or disenfranchised from normal society,
sort of
come to us and come and get some discipline. Come and train. We'll keep you healthy. We'll pay you. You'll see the world and you'll fight for your country. I mean, that's literally their marketing ploy, isn't it? To
And
get
the
people
RAF's
to
pretty
join
cool
up.
as well.
Yeah,
Let's
pretty,
be right. You know, I mean, the RAF has been known as being a cool job.
What is it like? So you've lived this life where you're a social hand grenade, and then before you know it, you're enlisted and you're going to a completely different environment. What is that like? Did you enjoy it? Was it amazing? Was it scary at first?
Well, I always knew that I'd be good at it because I was fit. That's half the job. When you turn up on day one, if you're fit as a fiddle, then that's half the job done because it's obviously absolutely brutal.
What is the fitness for that? It's pretty hard to get in there anyway, isn't it?
It's fucking. You have to remember the first few weeks they're trying to get rid of all the
weed out.
Exactly. So it's turning up fit and everything definitely helped. And then
So you did a lot of training before you actually.
Well, I've already been like a naturally fit lad anyway.
Yeah.
So I just knew that if I could turn up fit and keep my fucking mouth shut, then I knew that I'd do well. And that obviously proved to be the case. It's very, very hard, but they obviously took a liking to it because I just shut my mouth and did as I was told. But it's what I needed at the time. Like I say, I went there to fix up and sort my life out.
It's a good awareness at that age. To be fair, what was you? How old?
21.
Yeah.
So what's
No,
that,
but I was
15 years ago?
I was also fed up from those teenage years of 16 to 20 of just doing absolutely nothing with my life other than go out on the piss.
Yeah.
I was fed up and I thought I'm better than this. I can make something of myself, and it was the best decision I've ever made, really, because there's no way in hell that I'd be where I am now if it wasn't for the discipline and the lifestyle that the military gave me.
So by my calculation, that's 2008.
2008.
Yeah.
To January 2009, I joined up.
2009.
January
So
2009.
the war in Afghanistan is still is it in full force then, or was it more settled?
It was in full force, mate. Yeah, it was been obviously.
So you signed up, and how long was it before you got sent out?
So January 2009, 6 months basic training. Then you get posted to your squadron. I was out in Afghan by, it was 2010. It was May 2010. So you did basic training, posted to your squadron, and then you do a 6-month pre-deployment training to prepare for Afghan.
Where'd you do that?
Fucking all over the place.
Really?
Yeah.
That's chucking you in at the deep end, isn't it? Quick as well.
Yeah, because obviously,
It's not-
this is obviously like you had like improvised explosive devices. were on the rise then and everything. Do you know what I mean? That's how all the Marines were getting killed and maimed and stuff because of them. So we're doing all the training to how to look out for them and signs and everything, as well as all your soldiering skills and all that sort of stuff. So that takes 6 months of training. And then you're out there, mate. Yeah, and that was another 6 months out there.
So is it 6 months per deployment?
So ours was a 6 month deployment, and it was 3 months in Kabul and 3 months at Camp Bastion.
Right. Okay. In all honesty, what's the feeling? So it's the night before you're getting ready to be flown out there. Like, how did you feel?
I felt all right. I felt all right about it. I remember I was in Nottingham. And I went out on the Friday with a few of the lads, and then I went out on the Saturday with a few of the lads, and I was at my sister's and Jay's and stuff, and I was going back to my base that day and everything. I was all right. It was obviously it was worrying, of course, because it's stepping into the unnknown, isn't it?
I'm not doing
well,
that.
There's no turning back, is there? There's no there's no going back at that point. So
do you think that by that point, do you build up that camaraderie with the lads around you in your regiment, and you all know you're in it together? Does that being in that environment for nearly 2 years?
You're just literally hit the nail on the head. You're all in it together. So
so you don't want to go without them now because you've been with them for that long. You know everyone's going together.
Yeah, and obviously I trained for a year and a half just to go there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So but you like you say you're all in it together, and you just got to crack on with it.
In the what did you call it? The RAF Ground Force.
RAF Regiment.
Mm-hmm. I know you were talking about like the number of deaths in comparison to the Marines, which is understandable, but surely were there still many casualties in the RAF Regiment?
So the reason why I didn't go in the like the Army or the Marines or anything was because they're obviously fighting on the front line in Helmand province and everything.
They're all the metal detectors.
That was one of my jobs as well.
Yeah,
exactly that. So they're on the front line, whereas RF Regiment is like force protection and protection. So you're only like going on patrols nowhere near Helmand. You're going on foot patrols, vehicle patrols, not so far out from base, and then all over the place and everything. But then you're also on like medical emergency rescue teams. So you get a call where you have to fly on a chopper and go and pick up injured Marines and dead soldiers and stuff. So that was.
I was going to say, because I've got a friend who was in Afghanistan, and it wasn't. He's been to a few other places, and he said Afghanistan was one of the hardest tours that he did.
Yeah, I mean, I was there. I was going to repatriations every other day for Marines who have been killed and everything. Every other day.
What's repatriation?
It's like where they do the salute for.
Okay. Yeah,
like where someone's died, basically. Yes,
okay.
Yeah, but I could remember where everyone fires the guns, everything to remember the fallen comrade and that type of thing.
Every other day.
It was. There was a lot of Marines and Army getting killed. So obviously we had first-hand experience of it, where you know what Chinooks are, the big double propelled fucking helicopters.
Yeah,
so we'd be chilling, just playing on PlayStation. We'd be on call. It's called MERT, it's a medical emergency rescue team, and then you'd get a call. Blah 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 blah. Someone's kicked off in Helmand.
So is it still active where you're going to get these?
Yeah. So obviously that's why we were there, because obviously we were trained soldiers as well.
Yeah.
So we'd have to fucking run out to the Chinook. Would get on, and then these Chinook pilots, you won't believe how much of that they're chucking these helicopters around. Like you sat in the helicopter like fucking hell, because he's chucking it all over the place. And then you'll fly into a hot zone, so like in the green zone. And obviously they've got to find like a safe landing zone and everything. And there could be anything from RPGs coming at you, fucking bullets and all sorts.
Yeah, you're fully at risk there.
Yeah, so because you're getting in there to pick up someone who's been hurt. So there's some mine wasn't as bad as what some of the other lads. Some of the other lads saw some shit. I mean, I picked up a dead body on one of my trips.
Really?
Yeah, and like I just remember like a Marine threw a sandwich bag type thing.
Yeah.
He just, as he was brought on this body, because we'd land basically, and then you'd all run off and like provide all round defence. We would in our little team of 4.
Yeah, like a shield.
Yeah, and then the Marines and whatever would bring on the injured people, and they brought on this bloke, and I think he'd just died, so he was covered up with that. He'd literally just died, and then as one of the Marines was running off, he forgot he had this thing in his hand. He chucked it at me, turned around, threw it at me, and it was a bag of just fucking red and brown mush. And then I just saw his jaw and all his teeth in it.
And that's what was in it.
That's what was it. It was his fucking face. Yeah, that was the. Like, I
God.
didn't know. I was like, what is that? So I was like, squished the bag. I just saw his jaw and his lower teeth in this bag. It was just a bag of mush, mate. It's fucking brutal.
Have you got any PTSD from that?
Well, I don't know. I don't know. I said to someone the other week. My Tourette's snorting stuff started after Afghanistan.
That could be that, couldn't it?
Yeah, but I'd always like to think it doesn't. It don't bother me. I don't think it does. But everyone's like, "How are you fine with that?" I didn't really.
Did it affect you the next day? You didn't.
No, I don't think it's had.
So you was on. You've been trained.
I say not, but
the job.
It probably has. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't like struggle with it or have nightmares or anything.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I personally think I'm fine, but
that is a pretty intense experience to go through. Being chucked that bag, and I mean it sounds surreal. Like, listen to the story.
I feel like you've handled a lot of situations and you've just took it in your stride and you feel that's like hearing the story was it's given me PTSD.
When you talk about it now, when you talk about it afterwards, it is fucking surreal.
Yeah.
You'd see, I'd be in I was in hospital one night because I dropped a fucking dumbbell on my finger and literally fractured all my finger in that. So
in Afghanistan?
Yeah, and they kept me in overnight and I watched them operate on it. It was like, do you want to watch? I was like, yeah. But anyway, that's besides the point. And there's people in there who had fucking both their legs blown off, like morphined up to fuck, didn't even know. And just literally just casualties everywhere, like little Afghani girls with both their legs blown off.
God, it's awful.
Yeah, it's fucking horrific, mate.
What? So, and you saw all of that?
You just see, and I'm there with like a little broken finger, and it's like people with no legs and stuff, and some of them are that high on morphine they don't even know yet because of the shock and everything. It's
wow.
On that medical emergency rescue team thing, you see some shit like you'd see some of the lads would come back as white as a ghost, because feeling sick from some of the stuff they've seen.
Yeah.
Like I said, my that one, the bloke who I picked up, that he was dead. And the face and everything, that was as bad as it got for me. I
feel like you'd just be walking around with a packet of crisps, just going, wow. Like, that's how you talk. Like, you
relaxed about it.
Yeah.
When you hear those stories, you can't help but think to yourself, like, what would I do in that position? I don't know whether that is something I would be able to handle.
I just put it in a film box.
Especially with kids. If there's kids involved.
Yeah.
That would be pretty hard. Did you ever think to yourself when you were there, what am I doing here? Well, how am I here? Or were you like, no, I'm doing this. I'm glad I'm doing good work. I'm saving people. I'm saving soldiers who are injured. And did you get that good sense that you're doing something good?
Well, that's obviously always been like a ongoing discussion in the military, isn't it? Like, are we actually making a difference? And
do you talk about that amongst yourselves when you're out there?
Well, no, but obviously the media and stuff, and that's always been a topic of conversation. Isn't it? Like, are we actually doing any good? And the only thing I'll say about it is the other year when all the Americans left for good, finally. How long did it take for the ISIS to take, the Taliban tried to take over again?
Did you watch that documentary? I told you to watch it, Extraction.
Yeah, no, Extraction's a film.
Not Extraction, what's it called? What is it? Where the documentary about the British
when they evacuated.
When they evacuated. Yeah, I'm sure it was called Evacuation, wasn't it?
Evacuation.
But there's both sides of that argument in there. It's a difficult... Afghanistan was a difficult war for everyone finding it because the Afghanistan people and the way that the military are worked out, they are supreme military minded, aren't they, in Afghanistan? And they use the mountains to their sort of advantage. So,
so obviously one of my jobs as well out there, I said to go on these like foot patrols and vehicle patrols and everything. It's all about hearts and minds and getting the Afghani people on side. So you'd be handing out like bottles of water and pencils to the kids and the little families and everything. It's mental. Like you mentioned about the mountains and stuff. Sometimes we'd go to blow up a load of shit in the middle of the desert.
Wait. Why? What do you mean?
I can't remember what it was, but we just load of stuff that wasn't being used anymore. So we just went to blow it up and get rid of it.
Yeah.
And that was one patrol we had to do one time. And it was, this desert there was not a soul in sight for miles, and you couldn't see anything but desert. So we've done this explosion, and within 1 minute there was thousands and thousands of Afghanis on motorbikes and coming to pick up everything so they could wanting to
try and use it.
But there was nobody anywhere. There was not a soul in sight. And as soon as this explosion went off, they appeared out of nowhere, hundreds of them, riding on mopeds trying to get all this fucking.
Wasn't that nerve-wracking though? But then when they would appear like that, because surely you didn't know whether they were enemy or
well, that's what
not.
you obviously do a lot of training and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, spotters and that. You let young kids on phones out, letting Taliban know and everything. So even like when you go on patrols and stuff, you have to be watching out constantly and know what you're looking for and everything.
Wow.
How long did you do that for?
The army or
in Afghanistan.
Afghan was 6 months.
6 months.
Mm.
So do you get to discharge after that then? Do you get an option to discharge or stay?
I think you have to do a minimum of 3 years. Obviously, I did just over 4 years, and I didn't want to.
Did you when you was in Afghanistan? Did you feel that? Did you relax? So obviously, for me, that sounds like you would never relax, if I'm honest. But you must have been so like you're training and everything like that. You've got your day job out there, which it's a 24-hour job when you're in Afghanistan anyway, isn't it? But you do have your time off playing PlayStation, hanging around with the lads. Did you find yourself relaxing and forgetting where you was, or did you always feel like you was at war?
No, I was quite relaxed, to be fair, because again, you with all the lads. Obviously, you could get called out to do something like that any minute, so you've always got to be on alert and whatever, and you'd obviously have to take your gun and your body armor everywhere you went.
Yeah, so you've always got to be on a height and alert. That's what I was trying to say. That you're always kind of to be able to bring yourself down at night times. But
well, that's why you halfway through your tour, whatever, you get to go in for 2 weeks R&R, rest and recuperation, to gather your thoughts and relax.
Yeah,
and then at the end of your tour as well, you go and do a night on it's called Akrotiri in Cyprus. You fly out to the RAF base there and go on a massive piss up and everything at the end of your tour to normalise yourself and get readjusted to real life. But one of our lads fucking died there, so we didn't even get to relax. I spent my whole R&R giving police interviews to Greek policemen. It was fucking annoying.
Oh, one of the lads from the army died in Greece?
Yeah, when we literally survived Afghan.
Oh wow!
And he died right. He got bloody ran over by a boat right in front of my face.
Oh no!
And his mum, his literally bloody poor family, all our families were waiting for us at the base. We literally
after surviving Afghan.
Yeah, and was on because you do all water sports and everything. And was all on this raft, a few of us, and he'd just finished, so the boat was coming around to pick one of us up to have their go, and the fucking dickhead driver had a spotter in his boat as well. And we could see him coming towards our mate, and we was going, no, hit him like that, and then he just come up and just looked like a shark attack, mate. It was just like, he was like, I'm dying, and that's
what he was saying.
He came up, and just blood everywhere, like it'd been a shark attack, and that's when I did freeze, because obviously I knew him. And I wasn't in Afghan anymore. I was like, what the fuck? And
what have I just
watched? I stood there watching, and a few of the lads pulled him out, mate, and he was just, it was absolutely horrendous, and he died.
Was that at the end of your tour at Afghan then?
So this is on, like I said, when you finish your tour, you go on piss and Akrotiri. This is on the piss and Akrotiri. At the after Afghan. He was flying home the next day.
That's unbelievable.
So 4 years in the RAF, 6 months on tour. Where were you for the rest of the time? So you was training beforehand.
Well,
did you come out of the RAF straight after Afghanistan, or did you remain in the RAF doing something else?
Yeah. So when did I come back? So it was 2000. So I came back after Afghan was like November 2010. So I stayed in for like another 2 years.
Yeah.
But I just I feel like I'd done everything that I wanted to do. I'd been promoted to Lance Corporal and stuff. Like I was quicker than anybody who I graduated with. I was like, I'm doing well, but I just fell out of love of it and didn't want to go through the whole process again. And there was a lot of fucking dick swinging as well. Like the chain of command and everything.
What, like arse kissing, dick swinging?
No, just people who are higher ranking than you, just giving you shit jobs just to be a dickhead.
Right.
There's a lot of that. So like,
a lot of egos.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like dick swinging, doing it because they can, rather than just like, go home, lads, we're not doing anything. It'll be like a Friday afternoon when all you want to do is go home.
Yeah.
They'll be making you sweep up the same thing that's been swept fucking 50 times already. A lot of that shit.
Yeah.
I just got fed up with that way of life. Eventually, I took what I needed from it in terms of I knew that I could be disciplined and be structured.
But you didn't see a future there. Like.
It had given me a lot of skills, but I knew that I knew that I'd never wanted to stay in for life. I just wanted to.
You didn't want to become one of them, making people sweep up when they didn't need to.
No. I just wanted to. I went in to sort my own life out and to do some growing up, and I got that from it.
I can imagine, yeah. Sounds like
So what was life like coming out the RAF? So it sounds like you grew from being a boy to a man, that sort of journey.
Yeah, no, I did.
What was it like?
Did a lot of growing up, mate. I did do a lot of growing up. I was complete, I was very much the same person, but very different as well, if you know what I mean. Because I'd come out of all these different skills and different life experiences and meeting all these different people. Whereas before, I'd not really been anywhere other than to fucking.
Well, 4 years of what you've done, you compacted about 20 years of what anyone, and probably even what anyone don't even see. Yeah.
Yeah, but actually, it just got to that point. I still remember like telling like my family and stuff that I was going to leave because I worried so much what they would think because it was a case of, well, what the fuck am I going to do now?
Yeah.
So you almost put the feelers out first.
The hand grenades coming back fully trained.
Yeah. No, but I was obviously very worried myself.
Yeah.
I was super worried myself because I'd obviously, I left school with nothing. I'd no GCSEs, no prospects, but I also thought I've been in the military now, so surely this gives me some options at least.
Gives you a step up, did it?
Yeah, well, yeah. So when I came out, I was straight back on job seekers, trying to get a trade again, and it just fucking wasn't happening for me. And then within 2 weeks of leaving, within a couple of weeks of leaving, I'd been banned from driving, so I had no job, no fucking car, no nothing. I was on the dole, and then luckily, Danny G gave me a job, didn't he?
Oh yeah.
Big up Danny G.
We worked on the same side.
Love Danny G. That's how me and you met, bro.
Of course,
2013.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, Daniel G was a guest on our podcast, episode 3, I believe.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, talking about mental health.
Talking about mental health, yeah.
Yeah, Danny gave me a job, but even then it was like, what am I going to do now? What the hell am I going to do? Because I didn't want to be a labourer for it. He obviously just gave me a quick fix and sorted me out because we were friends, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it was actually my dad. He says, why don't you try and get into university? I was like, well, I'm not going to get in. I can't even write a letter. Do you know what I mean? Like I couldn't. I'd left school with nothing and never done anything like that. And so he says, well, you don't know until you try. You haven't been in the military. So I looked into it, and then turns out you could get in because I was a mature student. I was 27 by then.
Yeah.
And you can get accepted based on your life experience and stuff.
Yeah.
So it took me about 3 weeks to fucking figure out how to write the, blowing my own trumpet in the thingy letter and that, and then I got in. It was
to do what though?
So
you've got to pick a subject, haven't you?
What university as well?
It was so the only one I applied to was Trent.
Where's Trent?
Nottingham Trent. Obviously home is where the heart is, but I was also too broke to go anywhere else.
From Afghan to
didn't have a pot to pissed all that Afghan.
And you ain't got your license, so it helped out that you're pretty local.
Yeah. I just thought I could still stay at home because I'd already be borrowing fucking thousands and thousands as it was on student loans and course fees and everything.
Yeah.
And I absolutely didn't have a pot to piss in anyway, even from leaving the military. Pissed all out of the wall. Do you know what I mean? So.
Yeah, because normally you're supposed to save a bit from the military because you're not really spending it while you're out there and you get your cash.
Well, I saved quite a lot, nice hefty bunch when I was in Afghan, to be fair, but I blasted it all on a Beamer, didn't I?
It wasn't serious.
I did like 20 grand on a Beamer and closing on the piss.
Yeah.
Living
Your best life.
And then I was absolutely not a pot to piss in again.
You sold that Beamer to Tim as well, didn't you?
Yeah,
right. So what was the course that you did? Degree? Is it a degree? Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a BA honours degree, undergraduate. And I chose. The aspiration was I'm going to be a PE teacher. I always liked sport. I'll be a PE teacher. So I applied for sports education and business, and I got. There's a couple of others as well, very similar courses, and I got unconditional offers to all of them. I was like, oh my god, I can't. How the fuck are they letting?
Is this because of your military service? Do you think?
Literally, there was no way in hell that I would have got in without that.
Which is really good, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a great.
That is something that happens. You accept.
It should be recognised.
100%. It should. Yeah.
The only other reason as well, because you have to have grade C, GCSE, and was it English and maths? You have to have them to get into uni as well. And I didn't have them. I got obviously fucking E's and F's. It's only GCSEs I had. The army on my last day, I got the equivalent GCSEs, like grade C's on my last day in the military.
Wow.
English and maths. My very last day, I got the equivalent grade came through. So if it wasn't for that as well, then I wouldn't be here talking to you two about it today.
That's amazing.
That is amazing.
So all like mad how it turned out.
So, PE teacher to showbiz journalist for the Sun. So let's. What happened?
The big jump.
That's a massive jump, yeah. What I love about this story, though, I've not noticed so far that clearly then you didn't even plan to do this, yet here you are. I love stories like that. Do you know what I mean? Where at that point you wanted to be a PE teacher. So where did that change?
Well, I've not planned any of it. I've just winged the whole lot.
Worked out all right.
Genuinely, yeah. Like even the military, I just got to the point where I thought I need to do something. Walked in the careers office one day. Dad planted the seed for uni, and I touched on it before about wanting to be a PE teacher, but going on those placements in the schools and everything, and the Tourettes and everything, but it wasn't just that made me like thinking, do I actually want to do this for another 40 years? It was also, no disrespect to the teachers and everything, I'm sure they get a lot of job satisfaction from it, but I just think to myself, this is boring. I couldn't do this as much as I genuinely love like the thought of bettering kids and everything. I just thought,
being a teacher today, not that I've done it, but I think it's clear to see.
Yeah,
it's one of the hardest.
Listen,
it's one of the hardest.
So.
It's a tough job to have nowadays because you are overworked, underpaid. The expectation on teachers is mental,
and you're not allowed to hit them.
And you're not allowed to discipline. No, you're not allowed to discipline kids. You're not allowed to. You have to
discipline.
It's a bit of a chaotic environment to be in.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that I was finding out on these placement stuff, because obviously I'm trying to soak up as much info like a sponge as I can while I'm on these placements.
Yeah.
And that's what they're telling me. They'll be up till fucking 11 at night, lesson planning or marking work and everything. That you ain't got a life. It's how it was sold from a lot of them to me. And I was getting to the end of my degree. Excuse me. And I just thought, I don't want to do this. I do not want to be a PE teacher. But I still went for I think it's called a PGAC. It's like the postgraduate. It's the postgraduate course teacher training, basically.
Yes.
How long's the course then? You near enough got to the end of it before.
PGCE.
So I finished I ended up graduating my first class honours from my sports education and business.
Decent.
Yeah, couldn't write a letter before I went, mate, but fucking grafted.
Yeah, well done.
That's a great achievement.
Yeah, did that, but then I just thought, I'm fucked again now because I don't want to do what I set out to do.
It's a hard feeling though, because I remember when because I did uni as a mature student like you, and I hadn't done any of that for a long time.
Was you doing part-time masters?
No, I did a part-time BSc in psychology.
You did it all part-time, remember? You
6 years.
Yeah.
But I remember the first assignment that I got, and psychology is some of the stuff it's really hard to understand for even clever people. So at that time, trying to understand the information and then write an essay about it, it's quite daunting, isn't it? Because you're just writing crap, but you've got to keep writing crap until your crap gets better and better and better and better, and failing and all that sort of stuff. Clearly your attitude is just fuck it and go for it.
Yeah, talking about the anxiety and stuff, I was already felt like I was super behind because I had no GCSEs, and I was fucking petrified, to be honest with you, because couldn't write a letter. I'd never done it before. And I was worried that all these clever people, I also worried that I was old as fuck.
What do you mean you couldn't write a letter? You can write though, can't you? Do you just mean
I could, but my grammar and stuff. Like I never left school with nothing. Like I could obviously write and read and stuff.
Punctuation, all that sort of stuff.
Punctuation and everything. I didn't understand any of that. I didn't know any of it.
Right.
So I was shit scared that I wasn't up to standards, and that I was already falling behind everybody else because they'd already done their A-levels and everything.
Yeah.
I was also worried that I was old as fuck and going to be useless, so people would take the piss out of me for that. But then I had all the added pressure of everybody else in my life thinking I was going to flop it anyway, based on how I'd been my whole life. I got kicked out of college when I was 16 after a month. Do you know what I mean?
That's a lot of weight to carry on some young shoulders.
But also,
but it's also motivation in the sense of, you know what, I fucking can do this.
And prove you're wrong. Yeah.
And I was going to all these extracurricular lessons, grammar lessons, to learn about it all, and I just fucking put the effort in, mate. And then I remember one of my professors, I think his name was Chris Matthews. I just remember going into a lecture after all the freshers and all that shit, and like what you said about psychology, the subject was something to do with masculinity in sports and stuff like that, and different people's different identities in different spaces and stuff. And I just remember him explaining it and talking about it, and just thinking, this is fucking interesting. I'd never experienced anything like that in my life because I'd never paid attention or anything. But this bloke was so smart, and he just proper grabbed my attention. But it was also about something that I was interested in. And I was just hooked from then. I thought, do you know what? This is a bit of me. This is what is cool. This is what I
but
need
that
to do.
says a lot. That's almost like the problem with the curriculum system at the minute, because if you judge a fish by how well it can climb a tree, he's always going to think he's rubbish. But like you said, you went into summer and then your brain just switches on because you're interested, because you want to. And I think there's a lot to be said for a lot of people, to be fair. You've got to find what piques your interest.
100%. It has to be interesting. And one of our friends that we know asked me just a week ago, he said, I don't read books, but I want to start reading books. But every time I pick up a book, I can't get into it. And I says, all you need to do is find one that you love, one that sparks your interest. And when I was 18, I picked up the book Mr. Nice, about Howard Marks.
Yeah.
Any other book, I was just above it. And then I read this book about this guy who, Oxford uni student, sold weed, got involved with the MI6,
as well, how he did it as well,
the IRA. And I'm like, what an incredible story. And I couldn't put it down. And that was the start of my journey. And I suppose for you then, finally, you've been working hard at doing this degree, and then something sparks your interest. It changes everything, doesn't it?
Yeah, but like I said, I was motivated because everyone just thought I'd flop it, and I didn't. I thought I'd flop it as well. But the other pressure that
did you? Did you think that deep down?
Well, I just didn't know. I just thought I wasn't good enough.
Yeah,
I just thought I wasn't good enough.
I think everybody
I knew that physically, I knew that physically I could do anything.
Effort.
I just didn't know if I had the tools to be able to concentrate and focus and write and stuff. That's what was weird. But I put the fucking effort in. And like I said, I went to all these extra grammar classes, and I'd stay behind and I'd ask questions, and I just did everything in my power to do well.
Yeah.
And it's to graduate from where I was with first class honours. It was a massive achievement from me, because
I think the discipline
I didn't think I could do it myself until a year in.
Do you think the discipline from the military played a role in you getting your head down at university?
100%.
So you learnt a lot.
100%. It's the skills that the military give you. So it's organisation skills, time management, just all those discipline, just all of them sort of skills. I use them today to my benefit in everything that I've done since. It's those core skills.
It's a great advert for the military, that, isn't it?
Yes.
It's
They're
fantastic.
obviously doing good work, aren't they?
David said it.
Can't think of the actual, but they're like organisation, communication, time management skills.
All really important stuff.
Yeah,
But they're the basics that you've obviously seen.
If you can apply them skills to fucking anything in life, and you won't have any problems. That's the way I've looked at it. I wouldn't have got anywhere near where I am if I didn't
Good advice.
use those core skills. Yeah,
That is amazing, but let's not give all the benefits, because a lot of it's just your attitude towards it, you personally. I don't, is that the case for everyone that comes out of the military? Do you think that they come out and succeed? Because I hear a lot of stories that people come out of the military and can't actually then adjust into life, and actually there's not enough support for them. What have any of your friends in the military experienced that? Do you still talk to them?
Obviously I've got quite a few of them on Instagram. Well, I did have. We've got a new account now, but yeah, like I don't really keep up. I know a lot of them have gone into trades and stuff afterwards, but it's more the PTSD sufferers and stuff who because there's a lot of charity work out there and stuff, isn't there, for ex-military personnel who are now homeless and stuff. Like a lot of people do struggle with adjusting back to civilian life after.
Become institutionalised, don't they? If they've been in for so long, they can't adapt to
readjust
life.
to civilian life. It becomes like all in a way.
They should be supported more to do that, though. Do you think?
And there obviously is a lot of charities and stuff that help him, but obviously not enough, because it happens far too often.
We've spoke about this as well. The reason why there's charities is because there's a lack of in the first place. So are we doing the right thing by going, oh no, we'll do it, or should they actually be going, listen, we're going to fund some of this, because it shouldn't be charities when people have served their country.
Yeah, it should be the government, you're saying.
100%.
Yeah, people serve the country and risk their lives.
Yeah, that should be the number one.
Yeah.
Anyway,
And like I say, you progressing in the army, you decided to stop it where you decided you had enough knowledge, didn't you? And I think the thing is with the army is people get, like you say, institutionalised, and then they just go on longer than they need, or once they go back into society, it's so different to what they're used to.
Like I was petrified about leaving.
What, the army?
Yeah, because I was be back to square one and not know what to do. But I'd also, what you said before about seeing the world, they tell you you're going to see the world, that's all fucking bollocks. That's absolute fucking load of bollocks. I was in Wales in a fucking trench at 3 a.m, freezing my tits off on watch. I'd be in a trench that took me 2 days to fucking dig. 3 a.m.
Oh, you dug your own trench? The trench already
soaking
there?
fucking wet, thinking, what the fuck am I doing?
See the world.
This is, and then 2 weeks later, I'll be back in Wales again. I'm like, this is not seeing the world.
Tell you what, though, that's resilience, that, isn't it? That teaches you resilience.
Oh, it was hanging, mate.
So, you've gone from coming out of the military, not being able to write a letter. You've decided to have a go at a teaching degree, PE teacher.
So
but now, but then you've got into journalism. So from a guy that couldn't write to a man that's now a journalist, how did that happen? So what happened from uni to then getting yourself onto Good Morning Britain?
So the postgraduate teacher thing, I didn't get accepted onto that. It was like a fucking all-day interview, and I didn't get it, and it's like the best thing that ever happened, really. Because then I just thought, right, what am I going to do now? Because I still don't know what I'm going to do with this degree. What job can I do with this degree? So I just started looking at master's degrees, and funnily enough, ended up getting complimented throughout the whole 3 years of the undergrad for my mature writing style. They used to say to me, for how much of a mature writer it was. It's obviously academic writing. Once you learn it, it's pretty simple. So your reference and everything, and they got to the point where, like year 2, year 3, there was always complimenting my writing. And I genuinely am winging it. Like I said to you before, I just thought, well, journalism's writing, innit? That's literally what happened.
That was the link.
That was literally, I thought journalism's writing. Yeah. So I looked at a broadcast journalism masters, and that was literally what I did.
Oh, nice. And
then, got accepted onto that course. And it was just fucking absolutely loved it. It was, it's wicked.
Where was that course in Nottingham?
So this was at Notts Trent as well. I got, again, still skin. If you did your masters the same place you did your undergrad, you got a big discount.
Oh, right.
So that's why I stayed there.
But Nottingham Trent University is now a really big university in the country, isn't it?
Well, the good thing about the masters, it's the biggest student newsroom in the UK. Like it's Centre for Broadcast and Journalism, CBJ it's called. Right. It's where Notts TV is based. So so part of your course is getting to work on Notts TV as well. It's like the shit hot, like you would not. Nottingham Trent unit is a fucking breeding ground for journalists. You would not believe how many there's at ITV that all went Trent. There's loads of us.
So Trent's a great thing to have in your CV in the world of journalism.
Well, it's obviously not meant to be as good as Uni of Nottingham. That's the more prestigious one, isn't it?
It is, yeah. But
Nottingham,
Trent's up there now, isn't
it? I mean, I've done all right for me, haven't I?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that course, mate. Sorry, anyway, that course was absolutely amazing, and it does give you. So it's like radio, television, and obviously the world we're living in now, digital and online,
social media.
Yeah. So you learn about all that. That's everything that you cover. And you just learn the basics, basically. Like rather than having to write a dissertation like I did for my undergrad, you have to had to make a documentary. And that was it's just super creative, and it got the juices flowing in like something that.
What documentary did you make?
I made it on
your own as well. Like you had to film it, produce it.
It's like literally like a year-long project. So obviously you have to reach out to everyone, do all the studying behind it, and then make a documentary. And I did it on tattoos in the workplace and how to become more accepted now through celebrity, like Justin Bieber and David Beckham made tattoos cool and more acceptable. So that's what I did it on. And then I'd have like case studies from people who have been discriminated against in the workplace because of tattoos. And then I'd interview tattooists who refused to tattoo people's hands and necks because they didn't want to affect the job. So it's like a proper...
That sounds like a good documentary. I want to watch it.
Studied it for a year, mate. So, covered all angles and everything, and I fucking loved it. I loved it.
Yeah, got like you say, got your interest sparked for something that you want to do.
Yeah, it was just like never like got to express myself like creatively like that. I just looked. Obviously, the undergrad was all a lot of writing and stuff, whereas this was playing with technology and going out filming stuff and then editing everything and doing voiceovers and writing scripts, and it was it's good. It's good.
I think people look at me gone out sometimes when I say one of the best things I've done is get a degree. And I think people don't understand that because so many people do it. So it's downplayed. Loads of people go to uni and get degrees. Do you know what I mean? So it's not like like this prestige thing. But for me, that's similar to you. It kind of changed the way I thought. It gave me opportunities to challenge myself that would never have challenged myself in before. It kind of like made me grow as a person. What do you think what did it do for you personally as a person going through that process of going to university, particularly with the way you started and you didn't really know what you were doing?
Well, again, if I'd have gone to university when I was 16, then I wouldn't have lasted a week like I didn't at college. I got kicked out of college within a month. It's just for me, it was just all about personal growth. But it come at a time in my life, you have to remember, where I was 27, so I was ready for it then, and I knew that it was do or die. Whereas a lot of other people go when they're a lot younger.
I take it for granted, I suppose.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? So for me, I went there with the intention of bettering myself and learning. Whereas I didn't. Partying wasn't central to my aspiration of going to uni like it is a lot of young people who go. I was there as a mature student.
You went to game time and you've been to Afghanistan. You got a lot.
But in terms of I was watching Good Morning Britain the other week. That's having the age-old debate about, do you even need a degree anymore? That's what you're getting at, innit? Do you even need a degree anymore? That all depends on the individual, I think.
I think it depends on what you're trying to achieve. I don't think you need a degree anymore if you want to earn money.
Yeah.
Those days have gone. Yeah. Where years ago, if you want a good career, you got to go to uni for most careers. Where I don't think it even matters anymore. There's so many opportunities because of the internet and all that sort of stuff. But I still think for personal growth and educating and pushing your mind and developing your brain and all that sort of stuff. And your
the challenge, isn't it?
The challenge. Yeah. I think it's a really good thing. It's a great thing to do. Plus, it can, like in your case, it can bring you opportunities that you didn't even know were there for you. So you've come out of that, and you then end up on Good Morning Britain. How did you end up as a producer on Good Morning Britain?
Fuck knows, mate.
That's the quick answer. I was going to go up some really. I was waiting.
No. Do you know what? It's just so finished the masters. It's just a lot of stuff in television and stuff is right place, right time, and it's can always be off the back of someone else's misfortune, or someone gets pregnant, or someone gets ill or something, and there's a lot of that progression via those means. But
did that happen with you?
No, I didn't get pregnant. I just got my foot in the door from Libby. Actually, Libby got me my job.
Who's Libby?
My fiance. Right. She got me a
Hi, Libby.
Hi, Libby. I do know Libby really. She came to my wedding. I just wanted to know for the listeners.
She got me a job at the bottom of the barrel, where it's probably not the right thing to say, as a runner basically. So that's like everyone's got to start somewhere. The runner is a foot in the door, and when you're there as a runner, it's up to you to you get out what you put in. So I'd obviously do everything that was asked of me with a smile on my face, no matter how shit it is. You can be going to get fucking props, like some stupid fucking clown props or something for the Lorraine show. But it's also an amazing job to learn about how things work in the newsroom and get to know everybody on all the different departments.
Great experience, yeah.
Yeah, so I just did all these weird jobs for 6 months. He's booking everyone's travel, hotels, flights, everything, and you just have to do it all with a smile on your face.
To be fair, for a runner, and say that's like the lower peg of the job, and that's a big responsibility, booking everyone's travel. Did you have anyone shadowing you, or was it literally just left to you?
Yeah, you booked the wrong flight for the rain.
There's obviously a big turnover of runner staff and that as well, so you'd obviously always train people up.
Right, okay.
But I ended up doing that for 6 months, because obviously this is during that time. This is the advice that I'll give to other new runners, is you want to identify where you want to work, because I said it's such a good job to learn how everything works. So I'd obviously, again, soaking everything up like a sponge.
You get to see everything. It's like you're behind the scenes and you get to see every aspect.
And I knew straight away within a few weeks I wanted to work on the showbiz team, the entertainment team, because they do all the celebrity stuff and all the cool shoots and everything. So you've got like features team, planning team, news, input, output, and entertainment. I knew straight away I wanted to work on entertainment. So it's about using all your free time and going to shadow on entertainment, and just being persistent, and just saying I really want to work on it. If you got any shadow, can I come and shadow for free, etc., etc. And that's what I did. And then I got a job on entertainment after 6 months as a runner, as a researcher, and then I was a researcher for 6 months, and then I got promoted again to producer.
Okay. I remember when you was a researcher, because when you was a researcher, you would put the funniest Instagram stories on of clearly all the stuff that you were researching, just mad random stories that was going on in the world. Was that a good thing to do? Did you enjoy doing that?
Yeah, of course I did. Yeah, like I say, I knew straight away that I wanted to work in the entertainment thing. It was a cool job, because it's something that I genuinely am interested in, like pop culture, and I'm going on like red carpets and meeting the Avengers and stuff.
It's living the dream, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's cool. It's cool.
Just being around.
What's the culture like? What was the culture there? Like the workplace culture? Was everyone nice to you? Were there any, show? It's a bit of a taboo subject for everyone, isn't it? Showbiz. No one really knows what goes on behind the scenes. You only.
What I will say is it's the same as any workplace culture as any workplace in terms of competitiveness and gossiping and stuff. It's always the same. But in terms of showbizy stuff, it can be a bit of it can be a bit fake. But not just showbiz. I'm on about TV in general and stuff, in the sense of as soon as the camera's on, people will smile.
Turn on the smile.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. All's not what it seems.
Because they're normal people, aren't they?
Yeah, I was thinking as well, is there a hierarchy of like levels of how famous and like do people get special treatment? Because
is Lorraine nice?
Oh God, yeah, cool.
Is Lorraine nice? Was she one of them that's like, fuck it, oh, hello?
Yeah. I reckon she is. Yeah, Ash won't tell us, but I reckon she is.
Yeah, I think so.
No, it's not so much because obviously. Obviously, we refer to them as talent in the industry. They're like, that's the talent.
That's an ego thing. Is that?
That's the talent.
Yeah, so
we're the talent.
There's a lot.
Do they call themselves the talent?
Yeah,
I'm the talent.
I would imagine so. But it's a lot of the shit you'd get is from management and PRs of talent. Right. Like it's them who, if something's like fucking stupid questions asked on live on air, or they haven't got what they asked for in their rider. Like there's no Dairy Milk chocolate bar waiting for them on arrival.
That's the best ride.
And
you
know that the management's like, this isn't good enough. You get a lot of shit from management.
So they just pass on the Chinese whispers. I saw them like that.
Yeah, but realistically, I mean, I'd never saw it. Like I'd never seen like a celeb fucking really give a shit.
No, got too much money.
You were you on set on the day that Piers Morgan famously got up and walked off? I watched that live on telly. Like, was that a bit frosty then in the office?
Well, it was COVID, wasn't it? So during COVID, so you've got the studio, and then we're all upstairs in the production office making the show. So we're all in the whole team. But this was when COVID and social distancing was on as well. So because I'm showbiz, I'd have a lot more.
Say that again. Sound well begatted. Because I'm showbiz.
Because I'm on the showbiz team. I'd be the only showbiz producer when you're working on that show, because I've only got one showbiz item to look after, whereas everybody else will be working on all other parts of the whole show. So the point being is that because I was showbiz and I'm pretty much left to do my own thing, like editorially, I was just trusted with it. We'd get fucking stuck on floor 2 on our own. So I was up there for 2 years during the pandemic on my bloody own on night shifts a lot of the time.
Oh wow!
But on this particular one, I had someone with me, and was working, and it happened. It was just like shock, to be honest with you. Like,
when it first started happening, I thought it was a setup. Did you not get the feeling that this is a play, or?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying to you. It was like, is this part
for
of the
real?
But
yeah.
like, we obviously
don't know what happened.
This would have obviously.
You don't know what happened.
You always have briefings and meetings and stuff before the show
to let you know, so you'd have some idea.
Well, yeah, we'd as producers, we'd produce that.
Course,
do you know what I mean? We'd do all these. We'd come up with all these things and everything. So that. We was like, is this real or is this actually? Do you know what I mean?
I think it was clear. I didn't think it was a setup. But basically, Piers Morgan talked himself into a corner when it came to Harry and Meghan, and the rumor that there was a racist comment made towards Meghan and the baby.
Right.
And Piers Morgan was fiercely defending the royal family, but the guy that was debating was Alex Beresford.
Yeah,
that's his name. Alex Beresford. So he's the black weather reporter.
Yeah.
And he was arguing against no, the royal family are racist for treating Meghan like that. And Piers' argument at that point was pretty weak. And it was obvious. It was like, you look at it and say, like, just be quiet, Piers. No, you need to stop. Yeah. You're not going to win this because it's a sensitive subject and you're a white male making an argument that you shouldn't, you're not going to make. And he knew, I think he picked up and he just got up and walked off and never came back again.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which is disappointing because I like Piers Morgan, but the amount of people he's berated on live television,
especially,
and none of them have ever walked off. He's had people in corners. I think it was during that time. You could get it on YouTube.
I think I was doing a Joe Wicks workout at the time.
Yeah, that's it.
He was massive in the pandemic.
He was drinking a bottle of vodka.
He was on GMB every week.
Joe Wicks.
Yeah, he was on GMB every week. He was in the pandemic.
Yeah, he smashed it.
He smashed it.
He smashed it then. Yeah. Got some right YouTube followers.
Yeah. So you didn't You didn't know Piers Morgan personally or anything like that. Do you ever cross paths with him?
Just hellos and stuff.
Seemed all right bloke.
But, well, from what I hear, he's proper sound. Like he's done video. Libby's got him to do videos and everything.
Oh,
like
really?
he'll go out, he'll do for the fans and everything. He's always, but he's meant to be really nice as well. Like obviously, he's like Marmite, isn't he, on TV in terms of what the public think about him. You either love him or hate him.
Yeah.
I'm in the camp of I love him. I think he's brilliant. But a lot of people do dislike him because of his views and stuff. But behind the scenes, he's meant to be like a top bloke.
Do you watch Uncensored? That's his new thing, isn't it? Have you ever seen
Yeah, of course I have. Yeah.
Oh, do you watch it?
Yeah. Well, only when he's got.
I suppose
like,
you've got to keep up with pop culture.
only when he's got like big guests that I care about.
Yeah.
I'll watch it. I watch Tyson
I
Fury.
like him. I like Piers Morgan. I love the fact that he's outspoken. I went through a period where I didn't like him when he was on Good Morning Britain. When it was the COVID time, and the way he spoke about people who had decided not to have a vaccine and called them morons. I was like, no, you know, I didn't like the way he did that. But he's turned all that around. He's actually come out now publicly and almost apologised for it. So yeah, I was wrong to do it. So I do like Piers Morgan. And me, like a lot of people, have a very negative view of British media. And I think that you fall into a trap of having negative views of British media. So the way that they kind of like peddle narratives, particularly government-led narratives, and, you know, sometimes destroy people's lives, and, you know, by the way that they constantly give them a constant media attention and all that sort of stuff. Some people run away with it and go that the media are like, you know, it's a big conspiracy theory and they're trying to, you know, brainwash and like that. When you work there, is all that just an exaggeration? Is it just a group of people doing a job?
Are you trying to brainwash us?
Well, yeah, of course.
I can't imagine that as a showbiz producer that, you know, you get called into a dark room and goes, right, you need to brainwash the public with this. Like, but you do get mad conspiracy theorists out there who believe that the media is literally just a propaganda machine, don't you?
Yeah, of course you do. But no, it's just a completely normal workplace.
Yeah.
You just report on the news. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
You know, Good Morning Britain would report on the news rather than make the news.
Yeah.
So all these other things and stuff that are out there, especially during pandemic and stuff, it was, you know, there's a lot of propaganda and a lot of shit. I don't know. It's just, it's not like that at all in the news media. We obviously have our certain agendas and certain things we want to ask and get across and everything.
That's what I was going to say, because each media outlet has surely got a different narrative. Have you noticed the difference between what GMB would report as opposed to the Sun?
Yeah, massively. It's very, very, very different. And I'm still in the early stage, and I've only been there 3 months, but it's very much the same in terms of, but how they go about things is very, very different.
Right. Okay.
I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. I haven't bought a Sun newspaper for years. I can't remember the last time I read a Sun newspaper.
I did used to love them.
I used to love them.
Yeah.
I used to, you know, on a Saturday, so we get the football bit in the middle, do you remember? And you know, that was the sport bit in the middle. That was my favourite. But no, I imagine it's still the same though. Like, what was it like going to work for the Sun? So you talked about the difference here. When you go to work for the Sun, would you argue it's Britain's biggest newspaper? One of the biggest newspapers in the world, isn't it?
Infamous,
influential papers. What was that like?
It's well, it is, as I've been told, it's the most popular and most read paper in the UK in print and online. And to be honest with you, it's the only paper that I've ever read my whole life. But obviously, it's a certain type of, you know, person in it. Like I would never read the Financial Times. Do you know what I mean? Like it's got its target audience and stuff. Obviously the younger audience is now all online. I got told the other day that the print audience who still buy papers is your older blokes
looking for page 3.
Yeah, exactly.
Where's it gone?
Oh, there we go.
But I'm still in my
Gone now.
Still in my
Look at this face.
They've still got page 3, they just ain't got the tits out anymore.
Yeah,
page 3.
I think it was was it seen as misogynistic or something? Or
I actually see that as that. The world's gone crazy.
When did that happen? It was some years ago, wasn't it? Now
I think, I think so. But
Samantha Fox with the puppies out.
If you think about it, though,
it was crazy.
It's ridiculous, isn't it? Like, you know, it was a staple
as kids,
thing
I
in the
remember
nation.
my dad just having it out, and you just could see a pair of tits. Yeah. That was in the paper in the morning. Is that I left on the toilet floor?
Just aimed at blokes. Like that paper's just aimed at blokes. Page 3, footy at the back. That was it.
Yeah. I mean, if they tried it with a bloke with his, you know what I mean, his tackle out, I don't think it'd have sold as well.
Nah.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's who buys that paper back then. But now it's all changed, and
it's not just. It's fucking everything, though, isn't it? Everything's changed now because of the way the world works now. You can't say anything without offending someone, without someone speaking up about how offended they are.
Well, how did the Sun manage that?
And all those what has happened to the page figures? Are they out of work?
There was a big.
They're on OnlyFans, aren't they? They're running real though now.
Yeah,
it's fair. They don't need that anymore, do they?
They don't need page 3
and we don't need to look at it on page 3 anymore.
yeah, we can see it live on the phone.
$3.99 a month or whatever it is.
Oh, is that what it is, Luke?
Sure.
What is it? $3.99?
I don't know.
I think that depends who you subscribe to. So, so I've read.
Yeah. Someone told me.
Barrel 55 used to be a page 3 woman.
You're subscribed to a Karen. You are.
Yeah.
Page 3 in the 60s.
Yeah, she just irons, and I just watch her.
So what's where do you want to take your career in journalism? What's the end goal for you?
I've said
being on this podcast.
If I'm not, come on.
I can subscribe.
Obviously, you'll all know that my passions are in sport and stuff. Like, I've genuinely winged it into showbiz. I want to work in boxing, like, or football. That would be my dream, to do what I'm doing now, but within a boxing.
In journalism?
But within a sporting capacity.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, I'm in the same building as TalkSport now. That would be my. I'd love.
That's exciting.
I just know exactly what I'm doing, and it wouldn't be like going to work for me because it's something I care about and love. I'd like to do what I'm doing now, but within boxing or sport. But if I don't, it's so hard to break into that thing. Like, before I was at the Sun, I couldn't even get an interview for any of these sporting jobs or anything because they don't give a fuck about your degree.
Really?
Or your...
What is it, experience they're looking for?
And I'm like, well, how can I get the experience?
Or if you're
like the chicken in the egg, isn't it? No,
it's literally, oh God, it's a nightmare. Like, I can't even get the interviews because you need to hit the ground running.
Yeah, but don't forget though, always look forward. Like, everything that's happened so far has organically happened in the situation you're in.
Yeah.
So I've got confidence, mate. You keep doing what you're doing.
I'm sure it will happen one day.
Yeah, right.
Would you ever go in front of the camera, or do you want to always be behind the camera in regards to broadcasting?
I got asked last week. You know TMZ, the Americans.
Yeah.
They randomly messaged me on Twitter, like, trying to get me on and stuff. And I said I did say yes. But I ended up being too busy at work and had to cancel it. But they've been asking me a few times.
You've done on-camera interviews before, though, haven't you? I've seen you do.
Yeah, but I've never done live. It's always been like pre-recorded. So pre-recorded interviews with.
So we beat TMZ then, too, basically.
Yeah. Shame TMZ.
Like I say, I think it would be my anxiety and stuff and Tourette's. It would be a struggle. I'm happy. I enjoy what I'm doing now.
Yeah. Because in regards to sports broadcasting, the opportunities now are better than ever because the broadcasting's massive now, isn't it? Like, you think Sky Sports, CBS, TNT Sports now.
Yeah, but it's not even just that, mate. Never mind all the big broadcasting and everything. It's, for example, you guys.
Yeah.
If this was about boxing, you could get accreditation to all the press conferences and everything, and just go down there and interview.
Been to a few.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a lot easier than what it used to be now because of the technology and everything.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'd love to work in boxing and stuff. That'd be wicked.
I've been to a few of the press conferences at boxing, and it is amazing atmosphere. I've not done a lot with it, but I looked at it and thought this is amazing.
The thing is as well, access in boxing is a lot easier than in football and in showbiz. You know, because the boxers and the fighters, they'll just talk to you, even if you had a podcast with like 10 followers or something.
Yeah, it's because you're not really going to cheek off a boxer.
I was about to say, they don't need security, do they? They'll just smack you.
Yeah. Basically. Yeah.
Is that why?
Well, it is an era of the fact that they could definitely beat you up. So you're going to say less, I would have thought.
Well, who knows?
So sports broadcasting then. So, you know, with the story that you just told me, I'm almost 99.9% sure that that's going to happen for you.
100%. Yeah.
I think that your mannerisms and your whole demeanour you play yourself down far too much. Like that story that you've
Very
told,
humble.
very humble, like really open about the difficulties leaving school, being a kid, getting into trouble, and then, you know, the whole journey in the army, not being able to write properly. Now you're a journalist. I think that your story is really inspiring. Like, you're an inspiring character, and I think you should show off of that a little bit more.
Be more of a big head, Ash.
Yeah, you definitely should.
Saying that makes it.
And here's the reason why. Because there are people out there who are suffering from Tourette's. There are young lads and young girls out there suffering from Tourette's. There are other young people out there that are suffering from PTSD. There are other young people out there who are really unconfident and they want to get into education. You've experienced all three of those things. Just one of those things is enough to prevent somebody from trying to achieve the goals and the outcomes that they want in their life. Just one. And you've overcome all three of those. I'm sure you'll have to overcome more stuff because it's clearly in your character to do that. For any of those people out there that are young and going through those things, that what is your advice? Because I know that if someone listens to this and thinks, wait a minute, this guy started there and now he's a journalist for The Sun. What's your advice?
Same as what I'm sure yours would be to other people. Just fucking work hard. As I've been saying, I've said it on the podcast earlier, you get out what you put in and don't worry about your flaws and what's gone on previously. I've just, you know, I've had certain setbacks and stuff, and with the Tourette's and everything, but I've never let it hold me back. I've always kept striving, and you know, you just got to move past that and don't let it worry you, I suppose.
You have alluded to the fact a couple of times throughout the podcast that there were moments where you questioned your belief. Like, I didn't think I could do that. Like, how do you, if you don't believe you can do something, did you have a process for overcoming that, or was you just like, no, head down, move forward?
The thing with me is always scared of failing and letting myself down, but also what other people would think of me. That's always been an indicator for me as well. Like I said, with the uni, no one thought I was going to
use that as your fuel, sort of thing.
Exactly, yeah. But that would give me doubts and stuff about it as well. So that was always in the back of my mind, and it's always been about, I can do this. Despite how much I would still think at times that I couldn't. I'd never stop.
Amazing.
Like I keep saying, it's you get out what you put in, and I fucking put it in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think a lot of people need to know that, particularly in this day and age.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people do need to know that, don't they? Like,
top role model, Ash. You
are.
Well, yeah, 100%. And like you say, the advice he's given is hard work.
Put your phone around there, Ben. You all right?
Yes, mate. I'm ready to give Ash some quick fire questions.
Oh, Ben's quick fire round.
It's basically 10 questions real fast, and you've got to answer them real fast.
Have you ever heard of
I didn't know this was part of the podcast. Yeah. Fuck it, I feel like I'm on a quiz show.
Yeah.
You explained that quick fire round amazingly well.
You meant to what, sorry?
You explained the quick fire round very well.
I thought I did, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Right, you ready, Ash?
No, we're gone.
Just don't worry, they're nothing too, like, they're just
Dun.
answer straight away as fast as you can. Ready? DC or Marvel?
DC.
Ronaldo. DC? Sorry, I've got to carry on. Let's talk about it after. Ronaldo or Messi?
Ronaldo.
McDonald's or KFC?
McDonald's.
Bum or boobs?
Bum.
Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Summer or winter?
Winter.
Okay, now we're getting a bit controversial. Skid-stained boxers or piss-stained white fronts?
Piss-stained white fronts.
Okay, fair enough. Now, here's one. Wiping your ass. Sit down or stood up?
Sat down, man.
Okay. Right, okay. Would you rather be smart but a dick, or a really nice guy but dumb?
That's a tough one. I can't even answer that quickly because I don't know, you know.
We need an answer.
I'd rather be smart, to be honest with you.
Okay, fair enough. Favourite meal?
Steak.
And name a word that starts with the letter B.
Boobs.
You said you're a bum man.
Yeah, fucking You planted the seed then.
You put some all into your computer, in the computer, and it comes out with your
personality.
Tab.
Oh, is it? Is that what it is?
No. It's just
it's not like clever. He just wants to know about how you wipe your
wait,
arse.
how do we get back to it?
Weird question.
Did DC over Marvel. I'm surprised at that.
Yeah,
that's the joke.
Hey, can I say
Just
something as
Joker
well?
and
Because I've
Batman.
left this earlier on because I was talking about this. These two stand up and wipe their ass, right? And I'm pretty sure when I was going to ask about it that was not going to be the case.
What did you say? Sit down.
Sit down,
Yeah.
like every normal
I
other
think-
person.
Well, hold on.
I thought
That's-
everyone stands up.
That's 50-50 right here
Yeah.
on the table. So
Yeah,
what you on
so-
about? You're making it like yours.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
We got a poll.
I got Mikey.
Mikey.
Sit down.
Sit down.
I think,
No,
look,
sit down
put it in the
wins.
comments.
Let-
Do you sit down and have a shit, or do you stand
Let
up?
me
and
just
have
tell you my issue with sitting down.
Oh, don't stand
Your
up.
hand down the toilet. Like, get away from the
Yeah,
toilet.
but when you stand up, your arse goes closed, doesn't it?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
can't
yeah.
get- you can't get. You might miss a few
Yeah.
clegs.
See, it gets deep, doesn't it? It gets deep.
So let us know. Comment below. Stand up, sit down. The big debate.
Stand up, sit down.
What an amazing way to end that podcast.
Sorry, Ash.
I know, sorry, mate. You
smashed it, bruv, smashed it.
We might just segment that off.
Yeah.
Right, let's go and stand up and wipe our ass. Give that a go.
Nice one, Ash.
What a great story, Ash.
Yeah, amazing.
Pleasure having you on. Thank you so
Absolute
much for being so honest
legend.
and open. And I think that some people get some inspiration from that story.
100%.
Cheers, boys.
I
Very
honestly do.
inspirational.
Nice one, mate.
Good night, guys. Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you.
Boom. It's a wrap.